We have made it through another quarter of 2025, and that means we're going to be doing the quarterly book crisis tag and looking at my reading stats, how they have looked so far this year. Let's get into it. Everything is down here on my phone, so that's why I have my phone out. But question number one, how many books have you read so far this year? I have read 85 books. I finished my 85th book yesterday. I am quite behind. We will see exactly how far behind I am on that reading goal, but that's something with this year where I didn't want to force myself to be reading. And again, that's something else we'll talk about later in the video, where I didn't want to be like, I have to read 5 chapters in this book a day to finish this book in 3 days. That is how I used to look at my reading, and now I haven't been doing that, and I don't know if that's the right decision or not, because I'm not reading as much and I just feel like I'm really bogged down on books, but I am in a bit of a reading slump right now. Question number 2. Have you found a book that you think might be a favorite? Yes, I have read a 5-star in the last quarter, and that was Edge of Eternity by Ken Follett. This is a book following basically the 1960s all the way to the early 1990s. All of that history, interconnected families. This one was wrapping up his Century trilogy. It was incredible. The series went out with a bang, and I love that. Question number 3. What has been your favorite book this year that hasn't been quite a 5-star? Recently, it was The Power of the Dog. I think I gave it a 4.25. I gave it, a little higher than a 4-star. This one is showing the early decades of the war on drugs, the drug wars in America and Mexico in that series, because there were a lot of countries involved in this, but I didn't really know that much about this part in history, and especially from the Mexican perspective, I found that interesting, and I learned a lot about Mexican culture and just different cities and all that I didn't know about before. That's something I love about reading, is that it can introduce you to new places without, even leaving. It's an adventure in my mind, and that is one of my absolute favorite things about reading, so I love when a book can do that. Any least favorite books of the year so far? So I haven't given a book a 1-star, but a book that I gave a 2.25, I'm pretty sure, was The Roanoke Girls. This one, it's not a bad book, it just didn't do a whole lot for me. It felt like a teen drama. It is an adult book, and it does have adult themes, but it just felt like nothing was really happening there. Question number 5, most read genre so far. This is like the same for years when I answer this question. It is always historical. That is the genre I own the most books of, because it was my favorite genre for a really long time, and still going back to that genre feels like going home for me. Literary fiction's my favorite genre, but I do love a good historical fiction. Books that came out in 2025 that you really want to read but haven't read yet. So the day this video premieres, Joyride by Susan Orlean comes out. She wrote one of my favorite nonfiction books, which is the library book. So I do have the book pre-ordered. It's supposed to be getting here tomorrow because I'm filming this on Monday. I am really excited to read that because I just love how she includes so many different kind of subgenres in her books. They're nonfiction, but we can have memoir, we can have true crime, historical nonfiction. Like, she just mixes all of that together and does it so well, and you learn so much and get so invested into the story. So I cannot wait to read her new release. Number 7, one goal you've made that you're succeeding at. So I really wanted to put a focus on my buddy reads, my book club books, and I am doing that. I have been getting all my book club books done by the time the month is over. Sunrise on the Reaping was the one that came really close because that's in a series, so I had to read the other books before I got to that. That's just how my mind works. But I have been accomplishing reading all my buddy reads, reading all my book club picks, because that's something last year where I really struggled getting to them, but this year I am getting them done. And for me, that was an important goal because there's other people involved. I don't want to just leave people high and dry. I want to, and I do want to have that experience of reading with a friend, reading with my book club, who they are friends, but I love getting to read with them. It's so much fun. If you guys are interested about that, I'm not sponsored by Fable, but the link is down below so you can join the book club. We are currently reading The Reformatory by Tenerife Dew. Now our big loaded question number 8. One goal you've made that you need to focus on more, and that's putting reading aside. I know that is going to sound crazy coming from a book channel, But in the last week, I've realized how much I let reading control my life. Is it an addiction? Probably. And that was something at the start of the year, how I told you I'm not limiting myself with my reading. I'm not going to be like, you have to read this many pages, you have to read this many chapters because you need to have this book done in 3 days. I stopped doing that, and so I'm not reading as many books because I am not reading as fast as I once did. So now I'm very behind with my reading goal, like 20 books behind. We'll see exactly in a minute. And so I feel like I'm not accomplishing enough. And that's something so that it has kind of been taking control of my life in the last 2 weeks. Because as I told you, I've been in a reading slump. I've been reading really thick books. So it's taken me, over a week, over 10 days to read these books. And it's taking a lot out of me because these books I have to put a lot of focus in because they're very dense books that I don't want to do anything else because I'm like, I got to get these books done. No, I don't. They're always going to be there. And this is something that I have to tell myself, that it's okay to take a break. But it's so hard to tell myself that. So definitely I am coming up with new ideas of how to reinvent my reading, how to reinvent my schedule. And that will be talked about in yesterday's video of my plans on how I'm going to do that. But let's look at my reading stats now. This is all on Storygraph. Again, not sponsored, but if you want to add me, that's linked down below. With books read, I have read 85 books this year, and that equals out to 33,690 pages read. That's a lot of pages. My average time to finish a book is 14 days. I do read 4 books at once, by the way, and some of them, like my short story collection, I'll read 1 short story a day. So it will take me however many, short stories are in that collection. So that's just an example. Now for moods, I'm not going to read every single one, but I will read the big 3. But again, it's going to be screenshotted so y'all can see. But emotional, dark, and reflective. And yes, that the emotional and reflective is definitely what I look for the most in my reading. I want to feel something. I want to think. And with it being dark, I feel like dark themes typically make you emotional and make you reflect on things. The pacing, and so this is something that is subjective to you. I don't know exactly where Storygraph gets this data. Maybe it's just what the majority of people have rated, each book on pacing. But 52% have been medium paced, which, yeah, that's what I want. I want medium paced books. 22% have been fast, and 26% have been slow. So I would like that slow to go down a little bit, but I think this is a pretty good chart that we have right here. Now let's look at page number. 58% has been 300 to 499 pages, which I think is the average book length. But as I always say, I don't know if it's just because that's typically what I read, so that seems average to me. But what if somebody predominantly reads 500-page books? Then it's not going to be the average for them, Speaking of 500-page books, 21% have been over 500 pages, and 21% have been less than 300 pages. So again, I am happy with that chart. Fiction versus nonfiction, 83% has been fiction, 17% has been nonfiction. I would love to see this stat from videos in previous years because I am reading more nonfiction. I add a nonfiction book to my TBR every month. Now we have our genre, and with historical being what I've read the most of. Can I see? I've read 24 historical books, and I'm just going to read our big ones here. Next is literary, then contemporary, which that's my favorite genre, literary contemporary fiction, thriller, and then y'all can see the rest of the list here. As for a format, I am quite happy with this. So I've read 25,134 pages and listened to 303.6 hours of audiobooks. 58% of what I'm reading is print, so a physical book. 25% has been audio, which is my personal favorite way to read, and 18% has been digital. So I do think I would like that digital to go up more. I would like the digital and audio to be a little more equal. Because I do have a Kindle, I want to be using it. Oh my, this is interesting. So my most read authors. So from Suzanne Collins, I've read 5 books. I've read all of her Hunger Games books this year. Diana Gabaldon, I've read 2 books. Robert Byrd, I've read 2 books. I don't know what the second one is. I know Jason and the Argonauts, but I don't know what the other is. Okay, when I click his name, it only comes up with the one book. So I don't know. Maybe is he the author and the illustrator? I don't know what's happening there. That's kind of strange. Now, for languages, I have only read books in English. I don't know why Afrikaans comes up because I haven't read any books in that. I cannot tell you a single word in that language. They're always kind of crazy for me. They're overwhelming for me. So the month that I read the most books in, it looks like was June? June maybe? Oh, July. I read 11 books in July. And the month I've read the least amount in, so I'm not going to count October because that's still, in the process. So the least amount was, yeah, that's October right there. What is this one? In August, I read 7 books, which is that, yeah, 7 books is the least amount I've read in a month this year. And as for pages read, the month I did the most of that in was March with over 4,000. And the least, again, we have October right now, but that, is currently going on. So the month I read the least amount of pages in, it looks like it's February with 3,000 pages read. So about 1,000 page difference. Ratings, again, 85 books, that equals out to 3.36 is my average rating. So that's good, but I would like that to be up more. I want to be reading great books, not good books. My lowest rating has been a 2-star and my highest rating has been a 5-star. And those are my reading stats for this last quarter of 2025 or 2025 so far. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a Halloween emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye! If you are familiar with my videos, you're used to seeing Sherman at the end of them. Sadly, Sherman has since passed away, but I would still like to encourage you guys to help your local shelters. Sherman was at the Darlington County Humane Society in rural South Carolina. I always have their link down below in the description if you guys would like to help them, but also help your local shelters as well. You can do that by donating, sharing posts like this one, volunteering, fostering, and adopting, which it's great to do all of those things. Great to help your community, great to help the animals in your community, and I cannot recommend it enough. All of my pets were rescues, they were strays or from animal shelters, and I love them so much, and I know how much love they can give, so knowing these pets at the shelter can equally give that much love, it's amazing. And y'all should totally take part and help out those local animal shelter pets, and please help them.